Sometimes when you're asked to write a paragraph or an essay, you're going to be asked to be descriptive. And that seems like it would be something that's easy to do, describing, just basically what something looks like or what a person looks like or a place. But it's more than just talking about the look of something. Being descriptive in writing means including as many sensory details as you can to paint a picture of that person, place, or thing for your reader. And so that does include sight, but it also includes sound. So for a place, it could include how a place sounds. If you're talking about a person, it could describe maybe the person's voice. It includes smell. It includes the sense of feel. So if things are textured, how they feel whenever you touch them. It could also include taste, depending. You wouldn't want to go around tasting people, of course, but if you're talking about your favorite meal and you want to be descriptive, then taste would play a big role in that description. Let's say, for example, I asked you to describe a dog, to write a descriptive paragraph or essay on a dog. Well, when we do a Google search of just the word dog, look at all of the images that come up. So one person's description of a dog, say of this dog, would be completely different from a person's description of, say, this dog. So whenever you're being asked to describe something, you're being asked to present it to another person exactly how it seems to you. The little white dog might smell differently from the little poofy-faced dog, and that would be a part of your description. The way that their hair feels whenever they're being pet could be different, and that would be a part of your description, as well as the obvious things like how they look. One's white and one's more of a tannish color. Even that could be more descriptive. Is this one snowy white? Is this one perhaps maybe a dingy white? Is the poofy dog maybe both tan and white? Those are important details to include in a description so that your reader can get just as good of a sense of what it is that you're describing as what you have in your mind. Think for a second about how you would describe this flower. Now, you might actually have to pretend that you're standing in front of it in order to use as many of the sensory details as possible. But the more obvious things that we would come up with are maybe the color. Now, you can say it's pink, but pink can mean a lot of things to different people. So this isn't really so much a light pink or a rosy pink necessarily, maybe more of a salmon pink. Also, you have different colors in the leaves. You could just say that the leaves are green, but you could be more specific than that and say what shade of green. You could also talk about the shape of the leaves. If you were standing in front of the flower, you could talk about the texture of the stem. Likely this flower has thorns like most roses do, and that could be included in your description. But the way the stem feels in your fingers would be different from the way the petals feel, which are usually sort of soft and silky feeling. I know you're just looking at a picture, so you can't really talk about the way it smells, but many of you have probably smelled roses before, so you could probably imagine the way it smells. So how would you describe that to another person? You wouldn't want to just say, oh, it smells like roses, because you're trying to be as descriptive as possible. You want to put them in that position. What if this is a person who's never smelled a rose before? How would you explain it to someone else so that they would understand what it's like to smell a rose? Now, it may become a little more tricky when you get to trying to describe the sound of something and the taste of something. Depending on what you're describing, taste probably won't play a role in your description. In this case, you could taste the rose to see what it tastes like if you think that it would help or add to your descriptive details, but in all reality, most people probably wouldn't include that. Now, sound, obviously the rose isn't going to talk to you. This isn't Alice in Wonderland. But you could talk about maybe the sound of standing in the rose garden. Is the wind blowing? Can you hear the rustle of the leaves? Those types of added elements not only help the reader see the rose itself, but it helps the reader become in the same physical position that you are in as you're looking at the rose, so the reader can share the entire experience of sensory details. Maybe give it a shot on a piece of paper of your own. Think about the picture that you just looked at. and write some details for each one of these sensory experiences. Or maybe find something else right in front of you, something on your desk or something in your room, and try to use sensory details to describe that item. Or maybe think of your favorite food, think of your favorite person, and then try to see how many details you can come up with using the five senses.